pick a pawn. You pick any one of the other ones, and the king and the queen gives you 5 bonus points. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else I missed here. Okay, so you're going to upload the IPT part that we're going to draw first here, and then the drawing. Okay, which yours will be similar to mine, just a little different. And we're going to use 1-inch diameter piece, just like we've been using. And then that'll kind of decide how big the part is there. I think we'll bring it into paintbrush first and kind of crop your piece so that you'll be able to scale it a whole lot easier that way. 0's the same place we always use. Nothing too fancy here. Kind of same stuff we always do. So you turn in IPT part, the part drawing, the DWG file that we're going to do our 40,000ths down and up and all that on, and then of course the program. Okay, those are the 3 files you have to turn in here. Okay. All right, so let's bring this image into paintbrush and crop it so that you only have yours on there. Otherwise, I think it might be tricky. Plus, we really need to get the right side so we can rotate it around, and then our 0 will be in the correct place, because right now it's kind of upside down. I think you can just mirror it inside paintbrush too. So hover over that image there, that JPEG that's there, and right click on it. Well, it's always picking it. Okay, so I'm not real familiar with D2L, as you guys all know. So if I hover over this and right click on it, it says image. I'm going to pick image here. Okay. And it says source, blah, blah, blah. Where do I want to download? There's save. It didn't let me download. I wanted to download the darn piece. Why couldn't I download the source? It's annoying me. Okay, really thought it'd be as easy as right click on it and downloading, but not with the wonderful D2L here. There, finally. So I had escaped. I'm right clicking right there, and it I must have been in the edit mode or something. And I'm doing save image as. Okay, save image as. And you can put it wherever you want. I'm just going to put it on my downloads. If you got your laptop, or you put it on your thumb drive if you're using a thumb drive, but make sure it's somewhere you can keep it. Okay, so now I've got that image. Then I'm going to open MS Paint. So if you go to search here and just type in paint, should bring it up. Go ahead and open it. Everybody good so far? I never know. They might have taken paint off the server. Who knows, right? Luckily they didn't. This is a newer version of paint, which isn't near as good as the old version of paint. Windows 12. So you're going to bring it in there, and what we're going to do is crop it and probably flip it so that our 0's in the right place, and you only use the piece you want. It's kind of the idea here, okay? So I'm going to go up here where I drop paste down. Okay, it's not letting me paste, so I just got to open it. File, open. And there it is. Looks like I got it twice. Open. All right, so I've got that piece opened up. All right, is everybody able to get it opened up in paint? Okay, all right, so now we need to crop it. So figure out which one you want to do. I'm going to do the king here, so I'm going to crop everything but half a king. And then I'm going to mirror. Let me make sure I can actually, yeah, there's the mirror button. Okay, you can flip it. So we can flip it after we're done. So I'm going to drop down this little rectangular looking thing, and it says rectangular box. And what you want to do here is see where it's the highest point. We're going to make this like a 1/2 inch taller and better. So that's the most critical thing really is that you go from this line here to here. You get all that. And it doesn't matter if you do it too much anyway, but you're just going to trace the rest of this. size of the critical. Because an inventor will tell it that your crop image is a half inch small, and then everything will be right, okay, because it'll scale up. Okay. So I'm going to draw a rectangle around that. I'm going to start, I don't know, right over here somewhere on that line. And I'm going to get my whole king in there just like that. Okay. And the length isn't really that critical anyway. You trace what you want to trace on it. My computer thinks it's not me again. Okay, so when I get that, then I'm going to hit the crop button, which is this little button right there. Okay, crop. All right, so now I've got the right size. All right, just resave that, and that's what we'll bring into Inventor. Okay. File. Save as. JPEG. Wherever you want to save it. I'm going to rename it as King. Could have put a little part sticking up there a little bit better, maybe. All right, now back in Inventor. Probably go full screen here. Everybody still good? Oh, we had to flip it too, didn't we? Okay, while you're in, hopefully you didn't close out. Need to flip it. Just hit the flip button. Flip vertical. Yep, there we go. Now save again. That's the one we want. That way we can work off the top, which is more like what the lathe is actually doing. It would really work about, nah, it really wouldn't. If our zero line is there, it would theoretically work the other way, but it'd drive you crazy, at least would me. Okay, in Inventor, let's go to a new part. Everybody still good? Everybody else get to work. You don't want to use a photo viewer because the photo viewer actually keeps the photo even if you save it. Let's maybe save it over the top of the other one. Maybe it wouldn't. Okay, so let's start a 2D sketch. Let's use the XY plane like we usually do. Okay, so then if you remember over here in the insert group, it's got an image button. Hit that image button. Go find that latest one you just did. Open it up. And just put it towards the top quadrant here somewhere. We're going to locate it here in a minute. So put it up here in the top quadrant somewhere. Top right quadrant. Okay. Make sure it is in the top right quadrant, of course, or a 0 won't work out very well. Okay, so now we're going to dimension the height of it, and then we'll locate it, and then we'll make it horizontal too. So it should, hopefully yours all looks like mine. All right, so go to dimension, and pick on the right side of this image, and dimension that to be 0.5 tall. Okay, so now it's the right size, it's scaled correctly. Okay. All right, now we need to make sure that it stays horizontal. Okay, so pick the horizontal constraint, and then pick on any horizontal line, which is one on top and one on bottom. Okay, now it's going to stay straight. We can't make it rotate. And then the last thing is we need to locate it to the 0 point. So that is called the coincident constraint. If you remember, it's the top left constraint. So we can locate points to points there. So pick that, and then pick the bottom left of your image, and then the 0, 0 point, and it should be fully constrained. So I can't tell because that thing's over the top, but it should be fully constrained now. Okay. All right. I did say we needed to have, it's not really critical for what we're doing, I guess, that we needed to have 1 inch space in here. We're not going to get too worried about that though. Let's just leave it like it is and it'll be fine. All right, now the idea is to trace this and try to make it look presentable and capable of doing it on a lathe. So you can't have any real sharp bends. Okay, so for instance, if I did this one down here, don't just watch me do it for a second. If I have something like this, like that, I can't machine that because the tool can't get in there. Okay, so it's got to be more of an open loop type thing. You could actually get a tool in there, because there's no way a tool's going to, the tool's going to bang into the backside to get here. So it's got to have a little bit more of an opening like this one here does for it to work. Okay, it looks like it's drawing it. Mine's using the black colors. How do I change colors here? It's always more complicated than I think here. So I'm gonna pick my manage styles editor maybe again. Not really. That's not going to work. Trying to make it so it's not a black line in there. You can actually see it a little bit better. You can always hide that image after the fact anyway, but it might be a little difficult to use it right now. All right, so you need to try to draw all that, and maybe, I don't know if you need to use real numbers or not. It's not really critical. You can do a kind of a freehand on it. Make sure that, of course, this part here would be in a lathe, so it needs to be 1 inch tall right here in the end. Even though mine's not, I need to make it 1 inch to start out with, or it wouldn't fit in a standard 1 inch chuck. Okay, so I'll draw that. I don't know what the easiest way is. Probably just a line to start out with. I'm going to go up to here to the top the whole way to the 1/2 inch. I'm going to go over to here, right there, and I'm going to dive down here at a 45-degree angle. So hit tab and 45, because you can't really have anything less than 45 very well. You'll probably crash the tool. And that's about far enough down. Now at this point, I'm probably going to end that and go to a fillet, or a radius, I mean, little arc. I'm going to start trying to draw this thing, okay? So you do the same. Remember, on Inventor's first, it's got to be a complete loop when you get done too. So when you're freehanding this, if you miss the point you drew on, of course, it's not going to work when you try to evolve it. So I'm just doing the best to freehand that. And then as you go along, make sure you tangent items up. Okay, so I'm going to tangent this circle to this circle so that there actually are tangent. Okay. It doesn't have to match this perfect. This is kind of just giving us a baseline to start with. I really wish I could change that show format. Wish I could change the color on it. I hate the way it's showing up there. remember how to do that. So you should be able to get the green dot whenever you do this, hopefully. Make sure you are using tangent to tangent all your items, or you'll have a bunch of lines there and it just won't look very good. That's weird. You don't have to use arcs either. Of course, you can use lines. I don't know if a spline will work, because every time you have an arc, remember you're going to have to use the R value. So the more arcs you have, the more programming you're going to have. So you don't want to have 1,000 little arcs. So I'm going to have a lot on this one already, but less is better. In fact, I might try to get rid of a few of them here in a little bit. can use a fillet between two items if you want, of course. You want to put a fillet across the top of it. Okay, when you finally get done finishing it out, you basically make sure you draw straight down to the x-axis, and then all the way back to the right, so you got a closed loop. And I'm going to hide this image, and then just kind of try to improve it a little bit after that. To get to the image to hide it, you have to expand the sketch, and you'll see the image over there in your browser, and you can right-click on that and turn visibility off. Okay, and you kind of see what you got there. And if you want to see how it's going to work, I'm not done messing with this one, but if you hit Finish Sketch, and then you hit Revolve, you can kind of see how it's going to work. Revolve, and then pick your line to revolve around, and hit OK. And you kind of see if it looks right or not. It doesn't look too bad for starting out. It's going to be a pretty thick king, but that'll work. I'll put a fillet in there, and then you can hit undo or go back in the sketch and update it. like that any better or not. Okay, I'll give you a few more minutes to knock that out. You can turn the material into a piece of wood if you want to instead of aluminum. It might make it look a little bit better. Let's see here. Walnut. You can turn ray tracing on if you want it to really look cool. That. When you get it all drawn up, raise your hand. Let me come look at it and make sure that I think it's actually machinable. whenever you're drawing something with a machine, you can't ever use twice, because it's like, it's blended radiuses. So really, you can't really put a radius on it. You could if you're dumping it into something, theoretically, but even then it gets pretty tough. Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was really good. Hard to make it look like a cross. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. That one I think probably is. Well, it's a 45-degree angle, so yeah, 45 would definitely get to the center, and when we just have the other two, 45 would definitely get to that. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the next steps, and I'll probably put some more time into it in a minute. Just a few of you are getting farther along, so you can keep going, so you know what I kind of expect. So the idea is if you open up, I don't know, which one did we do last time? The hammer handle, it's probably closer to that. I think that's the PDF, I don't know. Maybe, lots of PDFs here. Oops, that's the old one. That's kind of the idea. So you're trying to get something that looks like this, right? So remember, we offset that line up 10 thousandths, and then straight across we offset 40,000 and cut all that, right? So that's kind of what you're going for. These are small enough you won't have to flip it or anything like this one did. Evidently, I didn't update that when we did it in Inventor. So to do that, just kind of to jog your memory a little bit, we'd save it, of course, first. And I'm saving this as a king there. Caps. Where I want to put it here. Let's see here. And then you'll bring that part into a drawing, remember? So we do File, New, Drawing. And then remember we switch the sheet size over to A size, right? So we're going to edit the sheet. Switch it over to A size so it's not so small. Okay. Then we're going to bring that in. And you can bring in a couple of views if you want, but we're mainly going to use the front view there. So the base, 1:1's even a little small, but that's all right. You could even make it bigger than that if you wanted to. You could make it a 1:0.5 and it'd probably fit. And your dimensions will work a lot nicer. So I'd kind of recommend that. Make it, half scale or whatever. And if you want to put a couple more views in there, you can, but you don't really have to. Probably won't fit very good, so I'm not going to do it. Leave that one off there. And then from here, you're going to use all these to create the 10 thousandths up, and then straight across and the 40 thousandths down. And then you're going to put all the radiuses on here for all these arcs, okay, and all the locations where it changes direction for your X and Y, okay. So if you want to move ahead, go ahead and do that. I'm going to wait till everybody else gets done with theirs before I move ahead on it. But some of you are getting pretty far. And once you get that done, that's it for today. We're not going to show it to me before you leave. But we're going to write a program. Yeah, that's what I did on mine. Okay, so I projected all those items, and then I right-clicked and it are offset, and I've turned the loop select on. Now for the height here, I'm going to, probably not asking me for a number here, but put it up there and I'll dimension, I guess, and see if it shows up. Hopefully it will. So I'm going to dimension between this point and this point until this right-click aligned, until it's 10. That did not work. Why didn't it go 10 when I did that? I'm going to have to undo back here. Offset. Okay, because I moved it too much evidently. So I tried again, and this time I'm going to type in 0.01. Okay, if that's what we want, 10 thousandths. Okay, 0.01. All right, there we go. Now I've got an offset line 10 thousandths above the whole thing. Okay. It did fall apart over here where it ran into this piece, so I probably have to do those separate. So I'll pick this one, 0.01. And this one's fine too, 0.01. Okay, so now I've got them all. Okay, so those are just basically where the red line's going, where the 40 thousandths line's going to hit once we do that, so we know where to stop, so we don't run into the finished part. That way it looks cleaner on the finished cut. Okay. All right, now we need to draw a line across the top to bring that 40 thousandths down. Okay, so I'm going to pick the line here. I'm going to go right here on the part. Go straight across. Probably go line up with my 10 thousandths line down there, hopefully, and make sure I'm still horizontal. Okay, see how I'm trying to line up with this last one, so that will pass. Not really super critical on this. Could go right to the part too, I guess. Assume that it was cut correctly, so we're gonna go with that one, I guess, just to be safe. I really didn't want that to be a center line, so I'm gonna pick it and turn the center line off on it. Okay, so now it's starting to look like that profile now. So now this needs to be offset 40 thousandths down until it hits the last place, and then trimmed up to the 10 thousandths line along there, which that'll take a little bit of trimming, right? So we're going to do offset again, and pick that one. Right click. Did something wrong there, didn't like it. Offset. Oh, I got to turn loop select off. So I'm going to right click, turn loop select off, and pick on that line. Right click and hit continue. Might not have to continue depending on the version. I'm putting 0.04. I still got center line picked. I got to get rid of that. Do it again. Continue. 0.04. Continue. Right click. Continue. 0.04. Keep doing it until you get all the way down to the last point of your part. There's going to be a lot of them. One more should do it finally. Okay, because the last one will be this right here on this rough cut. It won't be quite 40 thousandths there. Now you got to trim all that stuff up. So I go to trim and trim it back to the 40 thousandths. That one would be just quicker to delete it. Okay, I keep working my way back up. You keep the one in between the parts, right? Probably delete that one too. Got that one can be deleted now. Okay, so it's kind of getting my 40 thousandths. The only ones that are that low are right there. Okay, I trim again. A few more of them now. I can delete that one. Okay, Hopefully you can start seeing it form there. You can always pick something and delete it if you got a straggler hanging out there that's annoying. Mistake there. This if you get something really small like this, finish cut. Well, we'll have to take out some of this actually. But this little piece right here, the finish cut will definitely do. So it should look like that when you get it done, basically. Okay. So all your 40 thousandths lines are trimmed back to your 10 thousandths offset. Kind of the idea. Okay. Then you cut all those off. Offset. And then you come back to the finish cut. Finish up. Okay. I'll give everybody a few minutes to get that done. Actually, let's go ahead and dimension. I'll show you how to dimension that now. Hopefully I can do it in front of you without screwing it up. All right, so let's try to dimension this out. And if you get that done, well, that's probably the end of the day anyway, right? So, so the example again was kind of like this. So you're dimensioning basically on the top part of it. It does not touch the finished part. It touches the 10 thousandths and the 40 thousandths lines, basically. Okay, and on the bottom part of it, it's always touching the actual part. Okay, when you're dimensioning this thing. Okay, so that's kind of hard to remember that, but the top touches the offset lines, the bottom touches the part. That way you don't get them confused when you're programming it. And then you go to the right, and there'll be you can do right or left, or like probably have the right ones on the rough cut maybe, and the left ones on the finish cut, something like that. Okay. Okay, let's try to do the dimensions. This is definitely going to be a little tricky. I'm going to probably make mine a 16th because I can tell already they're going to be awful tight in here. So I'm going to go back in there and make that text really small. So I'm going to go back into Manage, Style Editor. You can still see 0.06. You can zoom in and out too, is all you want. And then the note text, I'm going to make that 0.06. Hopefully that's enough. Okay. And then for dimensionings, we do finish sketch here. I think we're ready to finish sketch. So if you forget something, you can always come back into the sketch. But finish sketch. And we're going to go to annotate. And we're going to go to ordinate. And wants to know where the view you're going to use. So I pick that view. Wants to know the 0 point, which is right here. Okay. Now it wants me to start picking geometry. So I'm going to worry about the rough cuts first. Okay. So I'm going to pick all these objects along here. That one. That one. Like this little part here will be done in the finish cut. So I'm not going to pick that little bitty circle because the finish cut will clean it out anyway. But there's a point there I'm not getting, so I might have to do that separately there. Tricky. I forgot to trim some of these. I can see that right now. I'm going to go back in there later and trim those up. It's going to cause a problem with my dimensioning. So I can always delete off a couple dimensions and add them in later. This one I forgot to trim too. I definitely got too big a hurry there. I think that's the same. So when you get all them picked, then you can right click and hit continue, and then you put them up here and you can see it is a little bit over the top. And you go in there and try to straighten them out. Well, I wasn't expecting that many. I knew I'd have a lot. If you get a double, just delete it. Oh, it needs to be 3 decimal places too. That's what I forgot in there. So if you go back, we have to have 3 decimal places. We go to Manage, Styles Editor, and that was in the Dimensions group. I knew there was something in there. So in the Dimensions group under Default ANSI, okay, you got to switch it to 2.123. Okay, remember that? Or 3.123, so you get 3 decimal places. And like if you get one that's 1/1000th difference, if you want to delete one, I'm fine with that. You can't tell the difference anyway. Chess piece like this. Probably gonna have to make my dimensions even smaller. Go down to 0.2 on my that to zoom in. So I'm gonna go to my styles editor, text, note text, and bring it down to 0.02. And I can see things. Always zoom in. That might be too much, but play that game forever. So
I'll give you some time to work on this next class, too, so in case you need more time, because it's definitely gonna take a while to get all these aligned. So, you see on the board, there's a detail called this. Change your styles and stuff. But you just teach us back. No, I mean, it'll dimension. So you'll have this long. Yes, perfect. Good. Yes. Good. All the ones worked out the line, all the stuff above, all the arcs, all the lines, all the nothing. Then you can work. Yep, every one of them. If you need more flexible, that's what it is. But, yeah, you kind of do, because you know, it's going to be more of a stick out there. Right. So then if you I know I need to go through here, want to do it, so we'll make that easy. You okay? It's tedious, isn't it? It is, yeah. But that's realistic, that's what's true. Right, you're not waiting for the chess set. You'll learn how to program pretty good by the time you're done. You know, and also the design. Yeah, that's why it gets so many. Because you need all the positions. It'll get even worse when you do the side view.
just make your style as small as you need to make it work. You can actually see your numbers. Like I said, if you get any that are within the thousands or two, you can delete one of them and just go to the other one. When you machine it, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference on something like this anyway. And you do get some dimensions to the center points of the arcs, remember? So we really don't need the dimensions to the center of the arc, so you can delete them off when you get in there too. Okay, so that's all of them. If you want to do the side ones, it's kind of the same thing. You'll have a lot of overlapping ones. Luckily, there's might be a few less. And then to finish this up, you do the actual on the part and going down into the opposite direction. When you guys get to a good stopping point, that's it for today. I'll give you some time to finish this up. And we'll start on a programming Wednesday. Remember, anytime you get a center point one, you can delete it. So the center point of an arc, there's a bunch of them on mine. All the ones that are going to the center point of an arc, I can get rid of. Careful, make sure you actually get the ones that are the center point of an arc. Cleans it up a little bit. If you want to change the colors of your dimensions, you can pick the Edit Layers group or button, and where it says dimension there, you can change it to something like red or something so you can see the difference a little bit better, or cyan. And yeah, that's way too bright, but red would probably been a better idea there. There we go. Kind of breaks it up a little bit better that way.
Anybody need any last questions or anything? If it's within a couple thousand feet, whatever you would do, one or the other.
It's a little tricky to program this, but we'll see how it goes.